Hey everybody, Andy from Tennis Euphoria, bringing you a review of the Wilson Ultra Pro V599. So Wilson have updated the Ultra family, and for the Pro edition in this update, there is a really significant change. Previously, if you were buying an Ultra Pro, you'd have been getting a H19 based mold, which was always a little bit random because the H19 is a super controlled, low flex, low power platform frame. So it makes some sense that Wilson have binned that HI19 mold, and for the Pro edition this time, they've gone back to the archives and brought out the Steam 99 mold and re-released that as the Ultra Pro 99 V5. But there is one addition that I can tell which does make a bit of a difference, which I'll discuss. First thing to do is have a look at specs. There's some things that are quite unique about this frame. 99 square inch head obviously stands out. The string pattern at 16 by 18 will raise some eyebrows. We'll talk a bit more about that. And it has a really interesting tapered beam, which I'll discuss. Wanted to check specs early on because Wilson are claiming to have much higher spec tolerances now. And mine happily was right on spec, which is really encouraging if you're spending a lot of money on a Pro Labs racket like this. You want to make sure you're getting what you pay for. I can also confirm that it matched specs perfectly to two Pro Stock Steam 99s I have two in Blade V8 paint. So that's really useful. I can hit them side by side, same strings, same machine, same player, and they are, of course, the same frame. At least they are the same mold. Although there is one subtle difference, the Ultra Pro 99 V5 does seem to have SI3D technology in the layup. And I actually found that made a difference. At first, I was really questioning myself because they are the same in every respect, but there's just something about that SI3D frame technology in this racket that seems to make it a little bit more reliable, shores up the string bed a little, and it just improves the feel a bit for me. I can't quite put my finger on why, but I certainly am much happier playing with this over than my Pro Stocks. Other features about this frame, which of course applies to the Pro Stocks too, is look at those grooves where the grommets are. I think that really adds to the aerodynamics and the speed through the air of the frame. And it has quite a thin and actually curved throat. The tapered beam I think is really interesting. We're talking 24 millimeters at 3 and 9, which is encouraging when it comes to stability and twist weight. Then it tapers off at 21 millimeters at the tip. All of that for me adds to this sense of speed through the air, the ability to generate racket speed. Check out the sound. Don't know whether you picked that up, but when you flatten out and really try and hit hard with this Ultra Pro, it does make a bit of a whooshing sound, similar to that you get on the Gravity 98 and some V-Cores. But I think overall, the point being is that this is quite a maneuverable, fast-moving frame that can generate a lot of power, particularly with that quite stiff flex rating at 69 RA in the play as well. So how does it play? Who is it suitable for? Would I recommend it to a certain group? To tackle that first thing of how does it play, the best word I can think of when I think about this frame is versatility. So on the one hand, it's really fast through the air, it's got good energy return, and it hits, despite that string pattern, a really, really nice flat ball. So if you think about Alex de Minaur's game, loads of speed in his game, both in his movement and his racket head speed, of course, but also he hits quite flat, quite penetrating through the court, and plays obviously really well defensively. This racket delivers and those characteristics really well. If you're flattening out the ball, hitting hard, or scooping things up, it does a really good job at giving you some good energy return. What is, I think, though, underestimated with this frame, that open string pattern at 16 by 18, you can also brush up and create a lot of spin and RPM on the ball. And that also is, of course, helpful in defensive situations. So if you play with a lot of spin and you like to hang on the baseline, you can also hit really good angles, play with easy depth with this frame as well. And I have to say that I feel really connected to this frame too. I'm not really a touch and feel player. I'm more of a baseline slogger, like to grind things out. But I actually can play quite effectively with some touch and feel drop shots, play at the net nicely with this frame, which I wasn't necessarily expecting with that stiff RA, but you do feel connected. It's quite raw in that sense. Downsides as to how it plays, that string pattern is quite unique. It does offer versatility, but the sweet spot isn't massive. I actually think the SI3D technology helps the sweet spot on this Ultra Pro compared to the Pro stocks. I feel this is a touch easier to use and more accessible than my Pro stocks are. But it still isn't a frame that is recommended for intermediate or beginning players. I think you have to be quite a good mover, you have to be pretty robust in your body, you have to have good advanced technique to be hitting the sweet spot most of the time in order to play with this frame well. The other thing that I really liked about this frame was its ability to pick up balls in slicing situations. It cuts through the air really quickly, so whether you're defensive slicing like I was in that clip earlier, or if you're hitting more of a aggressive slice, bringing somebody in, it's quick through the air and you can hit a really nice knifing slice with this frame too. Who is it suited for? Well, I've sort of already suggested that this is suited to advanced players, but I actually think this will appeal and can be used to lots of people's playing styles within that advanced category. So I think if you're someone who does have Western, semi-Western grips and you're hitting with a lot of spin, of course this racket can accentuate those characteristics. Likewise, if you're a bit more of a flat hitter, then it could suit you too. So if you're an advanced player and you're appealed by the specs on this, you should definitely demo it. I think a lot of people will enjoy it. Another characteristic is it's super on serve. You can hit great flat pace, partly because of that stiffness rating, the speed through the air, but I also feel you can really hit your spots well with this frame, both on slice serves and also with kick serves as well, because of some of those characteristics again. So glowing so far, isn't it? But is there anything that should be considered, and are there any downsides? Well, there are possibly a few. So I had a few friends hit with this frame. This might be useful information, but one who plays with a pure drive actually loved this frame, thought it was equally powerful, and he got really nice feel. I had two players hit with it who are more at a sort of intermediate to advanced level, and they really struggled with it. It was spraying everywhere on them, and they couldn't really control it at times. So I think there is the danger of, without full swings and advanced technique, this could be, out of people's playing ability. It does go through strings quite quickly. I was always using the same poly-poly hybrid, and I was restringing more often than I usually would in other frames that I use. So that's something to keep in mind. If you have budgetary constraints or you don't want to be stringing regularly, then this could frustrate you because it is noticeable that it chews up strings. The other word of caution I have is that I'm not sure how comfortable this frame would be for someone who's a little bit vulnerable. So I guess that goes hand in hand with advanced players, is that you like to think that they have good technique, which is protective of developing tendon issues. In my case, I obviously work as a sports therapist, personal trainer and strength and conditioning coach as my day job, and I do tend to try and look after myself as a result. So I don't suffer with tennis elbow. I like to think I'm quite resilient. It wasn't a problem for me, but one of my mates that I gave it to, who doesn't really look after themselves and is more of an intermediate player, did find it to be a little bit jarring. So that's worth noting. I also think that it isn't necessarily a sort of 10 out of 10 when it comes to control. So if you're looking to hit with very, very precise locations and spots on ground strokes, it is a little bit hard to control. You want to be playing with slightly bigger margins than you might necessarily with an all-out control stick. So overall, I love this frame. This is something that is very suited to me. Now, of course, I'll be a little bit biased because I have those Pro stocks and I bought those for a reason. I'm suited to this frame and the specs on this frame. I do think that Wilson should consider a denser pattern. I shouldn't get rid of this at all. This 16x18 is great, but I'd love to play with it in 1619 or experience a dense version string pattern 16x20. I actually think Wilson would do really well out of that, and a lot of players would really appreciate that. So maybe that could be an upcoming release. But I would highly recommend you go out and demo this frame. I really do think this will be a top seller for Wilson. Thanks for watching to the end. Please subscribe, so it really helps the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.